I didn't shout. I didn't demand answers. I didn't even ask why. I just walked away. No messages, no goodbye, no final conversation. She thought I'd stay, that I'd fight for her, try to fix what she had broken. But instead, I disappeared. And now, months later, she's the one searching for me, desperate, regretful. But the man she's looking for? He doesn't exist anymore. The signs had always been there. Late nights, the guarded phone, the way she avoided my eyes when I asked simple questions. I noticed it all, every red flag waving right in front of me, yet I chose to ignore them. I wanted to believe in her, in us. I convinced myself that I was just overthinking, that love required trust, and trust meant looking past the little things. Until one night, I couldn't ignore it anymore. Her phone lit up while she was in the shower. I hadn't meant to look. I wasn't the kind of man who checked messages or invaded privacy. But my eyes flickered to the screen, and that was all it took. One sentence. One moment. One undeniable truth. I can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again? I didn't react, not outwardly, at least. I didn't touch her phone. I just sat there, staring at the glowing screen, feeling everything and nothing all at once. It wasn't just the betrayal that gutted me, it was the realization that I had already been replaced. She wasn't waiting for something better. She had already moved on. And in that moment, I made my choice. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't demand an explanation. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of knowing she had broken me. That night, while she slept peacefully beside me, thinking she had one, thinking she still had me, I packed my bags. I didn't take much. Just the essentials. No photos, no gifts, nothing that carried her memory. I wasn't taking souvenirs from a love that had never really been mine. I was taking my freedom. When I reached the door, I paused. Not because I had second thoughts, I didn't. But because I knew this moment would haunt her forever. I turned the knob. Stepped outside. Closed the door behind me. By the time she woke up, I was already gone. She must have stretched, checked her phone, maybe smiled at whatever message she had been expecting. For a fleeting second, she probably thought nothing had changed. But then she noticed the empty space beside her. No warmth. No presence. Just silence. At first, she might have assumed I was in the kitchen making coffee like I always did. Maybe I had gone for a morning walk. But then she saw it, the open closet, the half-empty nightstand, my keys missing. And that was when her heartbeat picked up. She grabbed her phone. Scrolled through the unread messages she had sent to someone else, never once expecting to wake up to nothing from me. She dialed my number. Straight to voicemail. She tried again. And again. Nothing. Then came the texts. Where are you? What's going on? Why aren't you answering? Still, nothing. And that was when she finally understood. I wasn't just mad. I wasn't just upset. I was gone. At first, she probably told herself it was temporary. That I just needed time, that I'd cool off and come back. But as hours turned into days, and days turned into weeks, that certainty cracked. Slowly at first. Then all at once, like a dam breaking under pressure. She kept calling. I never answered. She kept texting. I never replied. Her messages changed, from confused, "Can we talk? Please, just let me explain," to frustrated, "This isn't fair. You owe me at least a response," to desperate. But it was too late. She had spent so much time thinking I would fight for her, that she never once considered what would happen if I chose to walk away instead. And now, she would spend the rest of her life searching for a man who no longer existed. I made a mistake. Please, just talk to me. I don't know how to live with this. I miss you. I miss us. But no matter how many times she reached out, all she got was silence. Desperation consumed her. She searched through mutual friends, old connections, familiar places we used to go together. Has he said anything about me? Please, just tell me where he is. But no one could help her. I had erased myself from her world. And the more she searched, the more the truth settled in. She had lost me forever. Now, she was the one drowning in regret. Now, she was the one chasing a ghost. Still, she never stopped searching. She told herself that if she could just see me, if she could just talk to me, maybe, just maybe, I'd give her another chance. And then one evening, it happened. I was sitting at an upscale cafe, sipping my coffee, completely at peace. My life had changed. I had changed. Stronger. Wiser. Untouchable. Then, a sharp inhale. I looked up. She stood at the entrance, frozen in place, her eyes locked onto mine. She had changed, but not like I had. Where I had grown, she had broken. The confidence she once carried so effortlessly was gone, replaced by hesitation, uncertainty. The arrogance that once laced her expression had faded, leaving only regret in its place. Slowly, hesitantly, she stepped closer. "It's you," she breathed, voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't think I'd ever see you again." I didn't react. No surprise. No anger. No emotion. Because this chapter had already been closed. She pulled out the chair across from me, gripping it tightly as if she was afraid I would disappear again. "Can we talk?" she asked, voice unsteady. "Please." I took a slow sip of my coffee, letting the silence stretch. Then finally, I spoke. "Talk about what?" Her breath caught. She wasn't expecting that. She had prepared for anger, maybe even pain, but she wasn't prepared for indifference. And in that moment, she finally realized she had lost me for good. She sank into the chair, hands gripping the edge of the table as if it was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. The certainty she once carried, the confidence that made her believe I would always fight for her, it was gone. "I've been looking for you," she admitted softly. I leaned back in my chair, watching her. "I know." Her brows furrowed. "You know?" I took another sip of coffee before meeting her gaze. "Of course. I just didn't care." The words hit her like a slap. Her lips parted slightly, her fingers tightening around the table. She wasn't expecting indifference. She had prepared for anger. Maybe even pain. But I had nothing left to give her. "I made a mistake," she whispered, voice unsteady now. "I thought I needed more. I thought I was making the right choice. But I was wrong." I tilted my head slightly. "So why are you here? Because you regret what you did? Or because the life you left me for didn't turn out the way you expected?" Her breath hitched. She didn't answer. And that silence told me everything. I let out a quiet chuckle, shaking my head. "That's what I thought." She reached for my hand instinctively, as if she could somehow hold on to me one last time. "Please," she pleaded. "Just give me a chance. I can fix this." I glanced down at her hand, then back at her face. "There's nothing left to fix." Her eyes welled up with tears, her lips trembling. "So that's it," she whispered. "You're really done with me?" I pushed my chair back and stood, adjusting my jacket. I was done the moment I walked away. She watched me, her face crumpling, realization crashing over her like a storm she could never escape. She had lost me. And this time, there was no coming back. She sat there, frozen, her fingers trembling against the edge of the table, her breath unsteady. Her entire world was collapsing right in front of her. She had spent months convincing herself that if she could just find me, if she could just say the right words, I'd come back. But now she finally understood. There was nothing she could say. Nothing she could do. She had thrown me away like I was nothing, and now she had to live with the fact that I would never be hers again. "I don't know how to live with this," she whispered, voice breaking. I exhaled slowly, looking at the woman who once meant everything to me. "Then maybe," I said, voice calm, cold, and final, "you shouldn't have let me go." Her body tensed, as if the weight of those words physically hurt her. But it was too late. I turned and walked toward the exit, not bothering to look back. She could chase me in her mind, relive every mistake, regret every moment. But she would never have me again. She had her moment of power. Now, this was mine. Epic ending. Her regret. My freedom. She stayed in that chair long after I was gone, the world around her moving on without her, people laughing, drinking, living their lives. But she was trapped. Trapped in the moment she lost me. Trapped in a past she could never return to. And as she stared at the empty seat I left behind, a single tear slipped down her cheek. Not because she missed me, but because she missed the version of herself she was when she had me. And now Now she would have to live with the fact that she would never have that again. Meanwhile, I stepped out into the cool evening air, feeling lighter than I had in years. No wasted words. No wasted anger. No wasted energy. I had simply moved on. And that was the kind of revenge no apology could ever erase. Some people don't regret losing you. They regret losing the life they had with you. And once you realize that, you'll never look back.